you don't care, no. You just don't care, no. I don't wanna play, baby, I'm just fine. I don't need you anymore.
For content information and a link to the written version of this video, please check the description below. Spoilers. This entry contains spoilers for episode 4 of Marvel Studios' What If series, so if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend you do that before checking out this entry. There will also be minor spoilers for the film Doctor Strange. I do not own the rights to any of the characters or events mentioned. They are property of Marvel Studios and the Walt Disney Company. Welcome to the 4th entry in this series, where we discuss each episode of Season 1 of Marvel's first ever MCU canon animated series. This series focuses on what would happen if one thing within the MCU changed. These episodes are presented in 30-minute runtimes and are stuffed to the brim of juicy content to explore. In the 4th episode of What If, we follow what would happen if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands. This review is a week behind when the episode first aired. This is because I had a lot to do before I go away on the Friday this entry was released. That said, I hope you enjoy this review. Disclaimer. I am not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or Marvel Studios. All assets of these companies, which I mention here, are strictly for reviewing purposes. I do not claim to own any of the content. I do encourage you all to check out the original media the content we are exploring was based on. If you would like to support me, please consider checking out my Cash App, my GoFundMe, and my email for inquiries in the description below, as well as my Twitter, which is @UTU with JJ. I'm really sorry about my voice. I just woke up, so it's a bit groggy. What birthed this new reality? Before we get into the main plot and what I thought of it, we need to start by seeing what changed. This new reality was born sometime before the episode began, when Dr. Stephen Strange and Dr. Christine Palmer, when the pair decided not to break up. This led to Christine accompanying Stephen to an event in his honour, celebrating the hemispherectomy procedure he successfully completed. The car taking the two to the event crashes like it does in the original scenario, but this time, instead of losing the loss of his hands, Stephen loses the love of his life, Christine. Seeking answers in Kamar-Taj, Strange eventually becomes the Sorcerer Supreme, but not before the Ancient One and Wong warn him not to meddle with time. These actions lead to the question the episode poses: what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? The plot. After becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, Strange attempts to use the Eye of Agamotto to save Christine from dying. He tries this over and over again, with each attempt to save her life ending in tragedy. At the end of one attempt, the Ancient One, who was alive during the time of this event occurred, arrives to explain to Strange that there is no way to bring Christine back without creating a time paradox, which would mark the end of the universe. Strange ignores her and seeks out answers at the library of Cagliostro, where he meets Obeng, who teaches him he can only gain the power to bring Christine back by absorbing magical beings. Strange does just this, absorbing hundreds of creatures over centuries and becoming Strange Supreme, a darker image of his original self. Strange Supreme goes to Obeng, who tells him that he will not be powerful enough to reach his goal until he has beaten his other half, which the Ancient One split from him in order to stop Strange Supreme from finishing his task. The two strangers fight each other, resulting in with Strange Supreme absorbing the Strange which had let Christine go. All whilst the universe breaks apart around them. Strange Supreme, now in his monstrous form, saves Christine as the remainder of the universe crumbles away. Seeing now the mistake he'd made, Strange Supreme pleads for the Watcher to intervene and help them. The Watcher tells Strange Supreme that even if he could help, he wouldn't, because Strange Supreme needs to deal with the consequences of his actions. Christine melts away as the universe condenses into a small space containing only Strange Supreme. The setting. There's not much to say about the settings in this episode, except that they are absolutely gorgeous. The library was gorgeous, the street at the beginning of the episode was gorgeous, helped by Christine's shining beauty. My favourite setting was the room Strange was in when he was absorbing all those creatures. The one that had the most impact on me had to be the final scene, where there was nothing but the tiny shell of what once was, containing Strange Supreme. It was so harrowing that I actually stopped everything I was doing for the rest of the day I watched the episode in, just to think about it. Never has an episode of an animated show made me reflect on my existence as much as this one made me. Well, that episode of Futurama with Fry's dog. Okay, it's the second most impactful episode of an animated show for me, but the settings of this episode definitely did them right. If you are enjoying this video, please consider checking out my Patreon in the description below. For this video and more like it, you will be able to find them a day earlier over there for just £1 a month, or your country's equivalent of £1. This video wasn't put up on my Patreon because I'm going away on Friday and I don't know if I'll be able to post it whilst I'm away, so I thought I'd give you a little good saying goodbye present before I leave for the week. So yeah, thank you for considering subscribing to my Patreon in the description below. Let's get back to the video. The characters. Unlike last episode, this episode has a more refined cast of characters, only sticking with those within the film this episode spun from, with the exception of Obeng, who was a new character added for the episode. We knew all of these characters and they performed their role perfectly. This was likely aided by the entire cast reprising their roles. There weren't many characters in this episode, so I'm glad I don't have to feel like I'm missing anyone out. Doctor Strange. This episode technically had 2 Doctor Stranges, but for simplicity's sake we will be focusing on Strange Supreme. I really liked watching this character go down such a dark path. I thought it was an interesting journey to take the character on. Strange unnerved me during this episode, where there's something about knowing just how far he'll go to get what he wants no matter what it costs all around him that gives me chills. There are individuals like this in real life, and they are dangerous. Strange Supreme gives us a clear warning to pay attention to what's around us and to not take things for granted because it may all be gone tomorrow. Christine Palmer. Christine was the most important character this episode. Her death was the driving force to making Doctor Strange what he became, but more than that, Christine showed herself to have such a kind heart and warm energy that every time we lost her, we as watchers felt it. That's not an easy feat to accomplish, but Christine's character definitely did that here. Wong. We didn't get to see much of Wong this episode, but that's okay, because what we did see was just 100% Wong at his purest. Wong is the kind of character that cares about the well-being of all his friends and isn't afraid to tell them when they were going too far. Strange's conversation with Wong was so important in his journey that the Ancient One chose this moment to split both strangers apart. If Strange had taken Wong's advice, maybe the universe would have survived. It was also really sad watching Wong fade away and placing his trust on non-Supreme Strange, only for him to fail. The Ancient One. The Ancient One tried to be a voice of reason several times throughout this episode, but failed each one. She maintained her belief that Strange would do the right thing in the end throughout, and insisted Strange Supreme wasn't evil but in fact misguided. She gave a strong performance in this episode and helped us understand what would happen. Although like Strange, I know I personally remained ignorant to what would eventually occur. I kept telling myself all would work out in the end, but wow was I wrong. It just goes to show that you should always listen to those trying to help you. Obeng. Obeng was a new character added to the story. He didn't show up much, but he did play an important role in pushing Strange down his dark path, whether intentionally or not. He was an interesting character and it would be cool to see him in a live-action movie at some point. Uatu the Watcher. The Watcher got a promotion in this episode and took an active role within it for the first time. He didn't help Strange Supreme, but he did talk directly to him during the final moments of the universe. Uatu is truly someone you don't want to be messing with, because he is more than willing to allow an entire universe to die as long as it doesn't affect any others. Like he keeps saying, he will not intervene, but I think we all know what's going to happen by the end of the season. Overall thoughts. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. It was my favourite so far. As I said, I liked Stranger's journey and I loved the overall concept of the episode too. There isn't much to say really, rather than sing this episode's praises, so I guess we should leave this section with this episode was amazing and dark and thought-provoking and everything we want from an episode of What If. So with all that said, I ask you to join me as we ponder the question, what's next? The end of this episode was really dark, nobody can deny that. It ends with the universe completely collapsing on itself and leaving Strange Supreme alone to reflect on what he's done. I think Uatu will take pity on Strange Supreme and offer him the chance to redeem himself and save the multiverse at large as a guardian of the multiverse. After that, we may see Strange Supreme make an appearance in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, as well as other multiversal properties. Whatever happens, I can't wait to continue this strange journey. So this was the 4th entry in my What Ifs review series. I know this is a week late, but as I mentioned earlier, I had some things I needed to plan before I could get around to making this video. My next entry in the series will be out very soon, and I hope you check it out. Please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing this video. It will really help me out. My next goal is 450 subscribers by the 20th of September when I go back to uni. And we're so close, I know that we can make it. And with that said, I've got to finish some packing, so I will see you all next time. Bye!